Hey there my lovelies, and welcome to my BookTube channel, the Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today we're going for my April wrap up. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying that. I managed to read 4 books last month, which is more than I managed to read in January and February, and exactly the same amount I managed to read in March, so I count this as a win. As for the books I read, I think I rated most of them 4 paws, with one golden exception that actually got 5 paws and all the paws in the world because I enjoyed it and loved it so much. But more to that later on. I got my coffee at the ready, I got my cheat sheets, and yeah, I'm glad I managed to sit down today to actually record a video. It's been a while. I'm sorry if I lost my touch in the meanwhile. It's been like 4 weeks I last recorded a video. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes it's really not easy to keep on track, especially when life is keeping you so busy, and my work life has kept me very busy lately. Also private life. I'm working on both of them, getting a little bit more quiet over the summer. I hope I will achieve that goal, but well, I guess we will see if things will get a little bit less stressful during the summer. There's always hope, right? Anyway, enough of that, let's do this and let's talk about the 4 books I read in April. And I gotta say here, I managed to continue some of the books that have been on my to-be read for a while. I need to update them on Goodreads, but I'm further into those books than I was for months, years, I don't know. I will finish them sooner or later. I'm making my way towards them. But before I finish those really thick and huge books, I always read little books in between. And yeah, those 4 books I read are no exception to that rule. And the first book I read in April is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I rated that one 4 paws. I think so far I rated all of Jennifer Lynn Barnes' books like that. Not because I don't enjoy them, but since they are books where you have to think with the characters and experience things alongside them, also solve riddles with them, I know that I'm not going to read the series anytime soon again. So since I won't reread those books, they all get 4 paws. I only put the books I'm going to buy and reread on the pedestal of 5 paws. So yeah, chances I might reread this series are very low because I already know all the plot twists. Anyway, this one was fun again. It was the 3rd book in the Inheritance game series. I liked that a lot of things were solved in this one, and we finally found out why Avery actually inherited that huge amount of billions from Tobias Hawthorne. And Avery also finally decides for one of the 2 Hawthorne brothers she felt drawn to, which was nice as well. Of course, there was a lot of drama and trauma, I might add. But yeah, the riddles were very interesting. It was nice to solve the mystery, the last mystery, at least they claimed it was, around why Avery inherited all those billions. And yeah, it was quite a journey. I gotta give that to the author. I'm very curious because I know there's a 4th book named The Hawthorne Brothers, and I wonder if it will be about not only Jameson's but also Grayson's journey and how their life is going to develop after the happenings of the first 3 books. I recently saw that one in my library and I think I'm going to borrow that one soon. Yeah, but first I need to write my review about the third book. And judging by my huge backlog of written reviews, that will take a little while longer. Anyway, enough of that. 4 paws for this book. It was amazing. I had so much fun. And Avery is really such a clever girl. Yeah. Also, we finally found out about Sandra's father. And I think we found out about all the fathers of the 4 Hawthorne boys in the books except of Jameson. I think this is the last father we still haven't discovered yet. So maybe the brothers Hawthorne will tackle that topic. I guess we will see and find out. Okay, enough of that. I loved it. I enjoyed the riddles. If you are drawn to mystery books where you can solve a puzzle alongside the characters, I can only and highly recommend the series. It was fun as long as it lasted. And yeah, I will definitely go for the 4th book, but maybe not all too soon. I think I've binged those 3 books. Well, I've binged them in my kind of way, in the way I can binge books. And I think I want a little bit of distance in between the 3rd and the 4th book now. Yeah, I need to digest it. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the 2nd book I read in April, and it was The Burning Maze by Riordan. It is the 3rd book in the Trials of Apollo series, and I absolutely loved it once again. I rated it 4 paws, because, yeah, as funny as Uncle Rick's books are, this one also tackles a lot of serious topics, and yeah, it was great, it was done well, there was still a little bit of comic relief, but overall the atmosphere of the series, of the entire series, the Trials of Apollo series, is very dark, very adult, and yeah, the 3rd book definitely delivered on that front, and whoa, it was quite a journey. As the title already suggests, we are going down in the labyrinth, and Grover is kind of the guide for our 2 heroes, Apollo and Meg, and they are trying to find another oracle that is shackled and bound in the labyrinth by one of the emperors. I don't know which one, I can't remember. There are 3 of them and they are all horrible, so yeah. And Apollo is trying to save the Sibyl, I think she's called. So they team up with Grover, who is supposed to know his way around the labyrinth. But yeah, it changed a lot. And it's pretty hot down there. And they are trying to find out why. So they journey there with the help of Piper, and later on in the book they managed to recruit Jason, and we find out a lot about what happened between Piper and Jason. We find out about Meg and her history with the entrance to the labyrinth in the desert, and it's basically her former home, and we get a lot of info what went down there. So that was really interesting. We also got a new companion for Meg and Apollo. And yeah, it all got very serious pretty fast. And I think what makes the difference between the Trials of Apollo and all the other books of the Percy Jackson series and in general Riordan books I read so far is that it's more grim. The outlook on things is never really positive. I don't know how to explain this, but with the other Percy Jackson books, you always had a glimpse of hope and no matter how dire the things were and the situations the heroes found themselves in, they always found a solution and it always worked out somehow. And I don't know if this is due to the narration, but Apollo has a lot of life experience and he doesn't have that super positive outlook on things as children usually do. He's lived his life. He's more than a couple of millennia old and he knows how cruel life can be and what can happen. So due to that, I think the series is definitely more grim and also in the way it is executed. The ending, whoa, the ending was quite heavy for a young adult book. And yeah, I love this series. It's amazing. It's so well done. I didn't really like the quest thing with the labyrinth as much as I liked the other quests. So maybe that's the reason why it only got 4 paws from me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the 4th book and I'm very curious how I will rate that one. Okay, let me take a sip here. I never want to spoil anything for you, but that really makes it hard to talk about the 3rd book in a series. It's not that easy. Anyway, let's talk about the 3rd book I read in April, and it was The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrun. I hope I pronounced it right. And this book got all the paws from me, 5 paws, the La rating, all the feels, all the amazing paws you can imagine, all the stars. It was so good. And I kind of regret I didn't read this earlier because it's right up my alley. This book was perfect. I mean, we have 2 main characters. One of them is Charlie Winshaw, and Charlie is, well, he was a former tech partner in a company that was, or still is, very successful, but due to an incident, he was kicked out of the company, his own company, I might add, and deemed not work-worthy. So his PR manager decides that going on a, well, TV show, live TV show, where he will find his true love is going to solve his publicity problems and will help him get a job once again in tech. Yeah. Problem is Charlie is very anxious and he is absolutely not ready to deal with 20 women that are basically throwing themselves at him. Let's put it that way. So enter Dev, the producer of the show, or one of the producers, who is well, tasked to coach Charlie through the entire show and the 8 weeks, and to help him find his true love on television. Yeah, live television, I might add. So those 2 have a quite interesting start. As far as meet cutes go, this one was hilarious. I even have to laugh about it right now when I think about it. But yeah, those 2, I can't even describe it. Charlie went on to the show just expecting to get a grip on his career and to get a better image to start in tech once again. And Dev is the producer on this show because he truly believes that you can find true love through shows like that, through Ever After. And they kind of clash because Charlie has completely different expectations than Dev, and they still talk it out. And whenever Charlie is hit with his anxiety or spiraling, Dev somehow manages to get him out of it and to talk him down. And I love the dynamic between those two men, because both of them totally weren't looking for love, but they actually found it in the most unexpected way possible, because there are actually 20 women vying for Charlie's attention and he falls for his producer. And they both don't really want to acknowledge it. There are a lot of cute scenes between those two where they explore their feelings, but they don't really want to acknowledge them. And aside of the fact that, well, Dev might get fired because he's the producer who is kind of hooking up with the guy that is supposed to get engaged to one of the 20 girls later on. It's really, I love this book because there were such amazing and cute scenes between Charlie and Dev, and they tried to understand each other. They tried to find out where the other one is coming from, and this right next to all the shenanigans and antics that happen on set with the other 20 women. But also they are so there for each other, and they're meet cute, and the way they fall head over heels for each other is so adorable and sweet, and they are exactly what the other needs. And it was just so wholesome to see them on page, to see how they fell in love with each other steadily and slowly. I gotta admit, I honestly, for the first time in like forever, I honestly didn't know how this book was going to end. I mean, you kind of expect it to end in a certain way, but while I read that book, I realized there's no way it's going to end like that. And I had no idea what would happen at the ending. I was totally out of the loop, and this was a first in a long time. This one actually surprised me, and I loved it for that alone. And the other thing is the representation was done so well. We have an OCD and an anxiety representation, and we have a depression representation. And I just love to see this addressed in this kind of sensible manner, and the way the author managed to convey what it actually means to suffer from depression or from OCD was done so well. And the book is, in general, there's a lot of angst and anxiety, but it's also so wholesome. I think I didn't feel that way ever since I read Heartstopper, because between all the happy and cute moments there are still serious moments as well, and I think it kind of gave me the Heartstopper vibes, and I loved it. I so loved this book for it. Yeah, all the paws, 5 paws, the ending totally surprised me. I didn't expect it to end like that, and honestly, this was the first rom-com in a very long time. I totally enjoyed, and I was glued to. I started to read it on the train whenever I went to work, but then slowly and steadily even read it at night because I just wanted to know how it would continue, and I realized reading it on the train wouldn't cut it anymore. So I think you can see how much I really enjoyed this one. And yeah, 5 paws, all the stars in the world. Okay, before I go to the last book I read, I just take another sip of my coffee. And yeah, let's go for the 4th book. And the 4th book I read was One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. It is the 3rd book in the One of Us is Lying series. And I absolutely adored that one once again. It got, well, 4.25 paws. It would have gotten 4.25 paws. But yeah, I gotta go with 4 paws here because I don't have quarter paws. I have half paws, but quarter paws is just too much. So yeah, 4 paws it is. And I really enjoyed that one so much because it was the 3rd book in the series. And all the characters we learned to love in the first 2 books are reunited together in this last and 3rd installment. And it was so nice to get their point of views. We actually get an Eddie, a Nate, and a Phoebe point of view. Those 3 point of views are the ones that were chosen for this book. And interesting things, we also get some throwback point of views from Simon and even Jake, which was very interesting to read. And it was so nice to be back with the Bayview crew. They are calling themselves the Bayview crew because after the happenings of the 1st and the 2nd book, they are no longer the Bayview 4, they are the Bayview crew. They even have a chat group, I love that. And I really enjoyed to see all of them once again, to see their point of views, how far they got, what they achieved in the meanwhile, the pairings and the ships that sailed and didn't sail. I just loved the ship of the 1st book. Bronwyn and Nate will always have a special place in my heart. They are too adorable. They are so sweet. I got a toothache from them, seriously. But yeah, it was really nice to see how Cooper and Eddie were doing, and it was just overall so wholesome to be back with them. And then there comes this huge mystery over the summer where there is a billboard that is kind of tied to an old advertisement company. And from there on out the trouble starts. People get missing and get returned once again. Yeah, at least some of them. It's an entire thing and the whole mystery. And I loved it. It was so nice to be back with the Bayview crew and to see how far they got and how their future is going to be. Unfortunately, we also saw some of the old characters we didn't like. As I already said, we got a Simon and the Jake point of view, and yeah, due to circumstances of the 1st and the 2nd book, those 2 aren't exactly my favorites, but it was interesting to see how they fought, at least that. And yeah, it was great. I think as far as last books in series go, this one was really well done. All the loose ends were tied up. We get a solution for the cliffhangers of book 1 and 2. And yeah, it was like Karen and McManus decided to wrap it up nicely and put a nice bow on the last book. And I think it's a really, really good finale for the series. I enjoyed it very much. As I already said, I would rate it 4.25 paws, maybe even 4.5. I haven't decided yet. I think you might read the final rating here once I edited this video. Okay, so there's that. Those were the 4 books I managed to read in April. I had a pretty good reading month. I finally got out of my reading slump and continued to read the books that have been on my currently reading for ages. I just need to update them on Goodreads. I still didn't do that. Maybe once this video airs, I did the updates and you can see where I am currently standing with them. Sooner or later, they will be included in a wrap-up. I know it. I can feel it. Hopefully no reading slump will ever hit me before I finish those books. Yeah, this is also the last video in which I have hair like this, because summer is coming and I've got an appointment at the hairdresser, and it's gonna be shorter than this because I got so used to having shorter and really nice hair to handle, and it gets a little bit annoying the longer it is. Anyway, this was information you probably didn't need, but I still gave it to you. So yeah, I think that's it. I spoke about all the 4 books I read last month. I would love to hear which kind of books you read last month and if you enjoyed them or not. If you read one of the 4 books or even all 4 books I read last month and what you thought about them and how you rated them. Yeah, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. It's always appreciated. You will always get a finger hug from me. And well, I guess that's it. We're already at the ending of my video and there's nothing left to say except of take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!